Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining our September virtual chapter event. I'm pretty excited. This is the first time we've used the EngageVR platform, so let's see how this goes. We've had about 166 people register for the event. I think we've got about 20 some or 25 in the room now. A lot of folks are also watching out there, on the YouTube live stream. One of the whole objectives here is to try new things and learn new things. And last time we did our event in AltSpace VR, and this time it's in EngageVR. I can tell you already, my personal feeling is I really enjoy this venue, the way it's set up and the way it feels. So love to get you guys' feedback after the event. So tonight we have a very exciting agenda, some great speakers, and it's actually a pretty full agenda, so we'll go ahead and get started right away. Next slide, please. So we'll spend about 30 minutes doing the introduction and the chapter announcements, and then John Gress is going to be talking about the Dave School. We've got Karis Fraser-Baker and Brian Stabile is going to be showing us what they've built for Walter P. Moore. Alex Harvey from River is going to be presenting after that. We'll have a time for Q&A from 8:45 to 9, and I've got their 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock social time. I figure if people are still around and want to have questions and discuss things, we can keep this room open. Next slide. So for those of you that's the first time at a VR/AR Association event, the VR/AR Association is a global industry association. Really what we are about is about growth, knowledge, and connections. We're a networking organization. We're not a standards organization, although some of our committees are trying to work on best practices and sharing that information. So it really is about fostering, the collaboration. Next slide. So currently we've got about 70 chapters and about 140 people that are working those chapters. We've got a little over 20 industry committees. We've got 35,000 professionals registered in our database. So it's quite a large global organization. Next slide. And specifically the Central Florida chapter, we have a bit of a unique mission. And really the mission that we want to focus on here is really to promote businesses within Central Florida to get access outside of the region. We're not a Silicon Valley or a Boston or New York, so sometimes it's a little bit more challenging for organizations and individuals to get connected around the world. So, one of the things we want to focus on as a chapter is to promote collaboration within the community, but also to help you all out there get connected to broader global ecosystem. And at the end, and also to help organizations that are out there around the world learn about the great things that we've got going on here in Central Florida and hopefully bring some of that business this direction. Next slide. And so we are now, we started off as the Orlando chapter and then we kind of rebranded as the Central Florida chapter in recognition that, we've got the Space Coast and we've also got Tampa and St. Pete. And so now we're kind of officially become coast to coast because we have members from both the Space Coast as well as in Tampa and St. Petersburg. And tonight we have some special guests from the Southwest Florida Coders Club group. Anybody here from Evgenia? I thought I saw you out there. Can you raise your hand or say something? Where you at? So there's a group down there in South Florida that contacted me and said, look, we're interested in getting involved. We're down here in Fort Myers. Oh, there she is, right there. I would say raise your hand, but if you're on a desktop, 2D, it's kind of hard to raise your hand. But anyway, yeah, thanks for joining us. And as always, our chapter meetings are open and we encourage anyone to come and attend our chapter meetings. Next slide. Now, all of this wouldn't be possible with the volunteers, the folks that use their time and their influence in the industry to help really promote the organization. I'm really impressed with the number of people that have volunteered to stand up and help promote the organization. And without all of you, this would not be possible. So, a big round of applause for for all of our advisors that helped this chapter go. How do you cue applause, John? Is that possible?
Yes, we can.
There we go, right? I think if you clap, it makes, there we go. All right. Next slide. So last month, we issued our first chapter report. If you guys remember back in April, we did a roundtable with various leaders from the Army, Navy, and Air Force and the National Center of Simulation to talk about the impact of COVID on military readiness. And as a result of that, we published a report. That report is out on our website. So if anybody's interested in taking a look at that, it's for free. Please download it. Thanks for everyone that contributed to that. Next slide. Membership. So while our chapter events are free and open to everyone, we do encourage folks that are involved, want to get more involved to look at becoming a member of the VR Association. And there's a lot of various benefits that you can get, such as getting involved in some of our global committees, getting press releases issued for those companies that join as corporate members. We issue press releases through our mailing list, and also discounts to various VR Association events. One of the things about corporate memberships is that when you join, everybody in the company is automatically a member and can take advantage of all of the benefits. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. And if you go to our website, the VRAR website, and want to join or get more information, please put down the Orlando chapter and then just write my name in there, because then that automatically gets forwarded to me to follow up. Or you can also just reach out to me directly if you have questions. And the reason it's important to put down the Orlando chapter is because when a company or individual joins, a percentage of those dues go to the individual chapter to help us fund local events. So we have some money in our treasury now that we're going to be using to do some sponsorships, like the upcoming ITSEC event and some of the scholarship things that are coming up. Next slide. Okay, we got a couple of events coming up. The next event is going to be on September 23rd. Beth Harrison, who's down in Tampa, St. Pete, is organizing an event with the Dolly Museum. And they're going to be showing how the Dolly Museum in St. Pete is using VR and AR technologies. So that'll be a very interesting one. I encourage you guys to sign up and join that. That's going to be from 12 to 1:30 on the 23rd. So that's going to be a lunchtime event. Next slide. And then September 30th through October 2nd, again, is going to be the VR/AR Association Global Summit. So please go to the website, take a look at that. I think last time we had something like 12,000 people attend the Global Summit. It was one of the biggest attended events in the world in terms of immersive events. And this one promises to be equally as big. Next slide. Okay, so I'd like to welcome some new members. So first of all, I'm very excited to announce that NASA has joined the VR/AR Association. Many of you know Bill Little down in the Kennedy Space Center. Bill has been working with NASA, I believe, about 35 years. And he founded the XR lab down there. And also Jose Chavez, who works with Bill. So both of them are the points of contact for our local chapter. So if you want to reach out to them or get engaged, please reach out to them or let me know. Bill and Jose, thank you very much for joining, and we look forward to hosting a presentation at some future event. Next slide. Bohemia Interactive recently joined. As you guys know, Bohemia Interactive is a very important simulation organization based here in Orlando, and they joined last month. And they've also launched their VBS4 platform. So that's been a pretty exciting piece of news, and we've issued a press release on that. So welcome Scott Hooper and the folks from Bohemia Interactive. Next slide. Mass Virtual joined also. Mass Virtual is also a simulation company based here in Orlando. Ingrid Martinez is the point of contact. So if you have any questions or want to reach out to them, there's her email. Welcome, Mass Virtual. Next slide. AVI SPL, another member from the Tampa, St. Petersburg area. Brandon Brunhammer is the point of contact. He's a solutions architect at AVI SPL, who's exploring how they can use virtual and augmented reality technologies in their business. Welcome, Brandon. Next slide. Design Interactive, another simulation company based here in Orlando. Sarah Dekmarowski is also our marketing director for the VR/AR Association and one of the folks that helped us start up the chapter. So Design Interactive recently joined as a full corporate member. Thank you very much for your support, Sarah. Next slide. And a new member, Faringo Sound Design. Sorry, Faringo, I misspelled that, Brad. I apologize. Brad has said he's going to join us on YouTube, so big shout out to Brad out there. Brad owns a company called Faringo Sound Designs, and he's specializing in VR and AR audio. So these are some of the exciting things that he's working on. Again, I encourage you to reach out if you have any questions or want to make a connection. Welcome, Brad. Next slide. And Lee Paulison Jr. Lee joined us as an individual member. Lee is a recent graduate of Full Sail University. He's a VR programmer. And he reached out to me and said that he wanted to get involved in network as he's looking for his next career opportunity. So first of all, I applaud any recent graduate that takes the time to join a professional organization and to get engaged and to start using this as an opportunity to network. So I encourage those of you that might be looking for VR developers to take a look at Lee's website and feel free to reach out directly to him. Next slide. And a renewal, Virtual Heroes, a member of a division of ARA. They were one of the first corporate members when we founded the chapter, and they renewed their membership this year. So Randy, thank you very much for your support, and we look forward to your continued participation. So wow, we had a lot of new members this month. I'm very excited for, that our membership, obviously we're doing something right, that organizations are investing the time and the money into joining the organization. So thank you very much. And if any of you have any questions about memberships and the fees and any of that, please feel free to reach out to me. We'll have a discussion. Okay, next slide. And I want to recognize again Frazier and Steve Lewis for our event organizer and producer. They're both up there in the back, I believe. Let's give those guys a big round of applause. We couldn't put this together without you guys, and thank you so much for. I mean, this is a real professional production, right? And all done by volunteers. Next slide. And a special welcome to Chris Madsen. Chris, where are you? Are you out here? Raise your hand. Are you there in the back? Where is he at? Right here up front. There's Chris. So Chris is the business development director for VR Education, the company that built VR and EngageVR. And thank you very much, Chris, for joining this evening. And I believe you're going to be talking a little bit at the end, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, this is exciting. Okay, next slide. Okay, good. We got through all the boring stuff. Now let's turn it over. Tonight, our host and provider of this wonderful auditorium is John Gress from the Dave School. So John, why don't you come on up here and take over? This is really cool.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome. It's great to see the VR ARA here in virtual reality. It's been something as a member that I've been looking forward to for a very long time. I want to thank John for putting forth all the effort in creating this chapter here in Central Florida. We were super excited to have a chapter finally here in our area. Some of the events that they put on, this being one of the first in VR, but some of the on-ground ones, hopefully those will be coming back. Great experience. I don't know if any of you went to the Orlando Science Center experience. Just fantastic. So we're super excited. Also want to give a big shout out to Chris Madsen, who's with EngageVR. They are always there. Some of the best guys to work with. Great experience. If you have VR events, definitely definitely look into it. So I'm going to do I had about 15 minutes to talk a little bit about our school and give you a little bit of insight into what we do. While we've been here for quite a while, we're also sort of not always well known and well found. So I'm going to switch presentations here for a second. All right. So I had about 15 minutes to talk, but I'm going to try to sort of blaze through this as fast as possible because I really want you guys to have enough time to see Chris's presentation, which he's kind of tacking on to the end of Alex's, which is also an amazing presentation, and of course the presentation that we're going to see first. So what I'm going to sort of do is I'm just going to start clicking through some of these because I'm a big believer in that a lot of the stuff that we do sort of speaks for itself. The Dave School is now 20 years old this past month, and we have been in the industry training motion picture, visual effects, game, and immersive technology artists for the past 20 years. Really exciting to be the 20th year. I was actually here close to the very beginning. I was here in 2003, almost at the start of the Dave School, and I was here for our 10th anniversary. Our artists are all over the world on pretty much every motion picture that you see that's a major motion picture or TV show. As you sort of see the names, it's not just one or two grads, but we've got quite a few working on most major motion pictures, game studios. We're sort of all over the world. We are a little bit different than a lot of other schools. A lot of other schools concentrate on the programming end of it. We are more, because we originally were founded as a visual effects studio, we are sort of more on the front end and the presentation side of it. When there's these phenomenal programmers who are out making amazing productions, amazing virtual reality experiences, the people who are there creating the photorealistic front ends, those are the artists we train. And sort of, I would like to think that the thing that differentiates us from a lot of other schools is all of our instructors come from industry. They're industry veterans, and we simulate a real working studio environment. So from day one, students are used to things like time management and deadlines and crunch time and all the things that many of you working in the field as production people are really familiar with. That's sort of our means of getting the students career ready by starting them off as if day one of school isn't school. We like to say it's your first day on the job. So we try to instill in them all the work ethic. One of the things that we've done over the past couple of years is also combining this concept of convergence and converging the visual effects industry, the game industry, and immersive technologies industries together. So I have one slide. I'm not going to go through the whole slide presentation. These are the ones you've seen up there. Those are productions that students have worked on over the years. These are current students who are currently working on current productions that you may have seen, things like Mandalorian and Watchmen and Westworld. These are all our students working on. We have lots of students out there working on these productions. As you can see, the list of productions that the students from our school have worked on is quite big and quite extensive. I want to show you just a little quick preview of something we've most recently over the past year, we've really made a hard turn into the immersive technologies and especially virtual production. So I want to just give you a little bit of a taste of one of the productions that our first thing we've done that are both our visual effects side and our immersive and game technologies came together to do a production. These are some student works, recent student works that we were just showcasing. This was an interesting project that the students did on combining nature and technology. And if you see like the little ladybug is actually a mouse with a little mouse wheel on it. These are some architectural. So our students do go off into other fields other than just visual effects and game. We've got lots of students in architectural visualization. We have got students that work for military simulation, and the list goes kind of quite on and on. This is sort of the secret sauce to our school, which is that we combine both tracks through most of the program, and they split off only at the end. So they all learn the basic techniques that you need to create content for both these industries, for visual effects or for immersive technologies. They learn their modeling, texturing, lighting and look dev, animation, and then they sort of split off as they get into their specialty. That kind of gives you just sort of a 50,000-foot overview. I'm going to play a little 2-minute clip from one of the recent productions that we did, which was our first combined virtual production, and then I'm just going to turn it over and let the show continue because we've got a lot of really cool stuff to cover tonight. Thank you, guys. I apologize if my presentation here is a little stuttered and not as smooth as normal. I'm trying to coordinate with a headset, running the presentation and doing this sort of all at once. So it's a little awkward. But I appreciate you guys being here. Welcome. Really exciting to have our first event. We had a great turnout. I'm sure there's people online. Say hello to everybody out there in online and YouTube land. I'm going to turn it back over to John and enjoy the rest of the presentation. I think you're going to love it.
Yep. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. So our next speaker, if we bring up the agenda, is, can I ask Karis and Brian to come up, please? So I promised, I took a moment and I went and looked on a TV just to see how this looked from the YouTube view. And it's interesting because you can see the three screens around. But I can tell the folks at home that if you're in VR, sitting here with the headphones, with the VR headset on, it's a completely amazing experience. I mean, I'm just been kind of walking around, just soaking it all up. But the next two presentations, I promise, are going to be very exciting. So I'd like to introduce Karis and Fraser from Walter P. Moore. So why don't I just turn it over to you guys so you can jump right in it.
Thank you, John. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Awesome. Great. So thanks for being here. Just give me a moment. I'm going to share my desktop. I'm here to talk to you today about the work that we've been doing over. My name is Karis Fraser Baker. I'm here with our software developer, Brian Stabile. Hello. So some of you may be wondering, maybe what is a technical artist? Maybe who is Walter P. Moore, right? So Walter P. Moore is an 80-year-old structural engineering firm that started in Houston, Texas. We are mostly a structural engineering firm doing the concrete and the steel beams, making things not fall down. I think that's our prime objective. We pride ourselves on being ahead of the curve as far as technology is concerned. In the early 2000s, Walter P. Moore led the charge on document-centric to data-centric design, meaning we took things from paper blueprints into the computer environment in the first place. So we like to stay ahead of the curve. So about 4 years ago, the VR studio was started here in Orlando. My role as a technical artist, I'm a artist, technically. It means I not only design and develop the software, but I create the artwork inside as well. And so we're excited to show you the tool that we've been developing. This tool is a proprietary tool set created for the purpose of Walter P. Moore and our engineers. And we also provide it as a service to those who may be interested. So give me a moment here. Alrighty. So why VR, right? A lot of times I have to start it off as, why is the AEC industry, the architectural engineering and construction industry, looking at VR as a solution in the first place? Now, we can kind of understand, especially if you're here in the room, that the idea of immediate, large-scale, one-to-one visualization of structures is just immediately appealing. You're sitting here, you're going, wow, I feel like I'm here. So that's the immediate value. Now, if you're out in YouTube land, you may not quite understand it, but imagine everything that you're looking at is exactly the way that it would be in the real world, right? So that means that you're virtually visiting somewhere before it even exists. So that means you don't have to wait for someone to stick a shovel in the ground before you can make decisions about whether or not that thing is in the spot that you want it to be in. So that's what we mean when we talk about virtual site visits. We're going there and we're saving time and saving money and preventing errors just by putting it in VR in the first place. Then we get into simulation. Now we do a lot of simulation at Walter P. Moore. Not only are we into structural engineering, we have another number of other disciplines that we work with. And simulation is a big part of that. We utilize VR to support those simulations to not only show our work, but also to communicate that work to the client or to the vendor that we are working with. So when it comes to communication and collaboration, I think that VR is the most easy way to communicate something that I've ever seen. I've been there in the room. Like I said, we've been using this for a number of years, so I've been there in the room during some of these presentations. And what's incredible is you can see what may be a hotly debated topic. You put someone in VR and it quickly dissolves. It gets everybody on the same page very quickly. It turns long debates and email chains into one sentence within a meeting. So it just quickly wraps your head around it, quite literally, and gets everybody on the same page, and it's just incredibly valuable, and I think we can all understand why. When you're collaborating in a large-scale project, at Walter P. Moore, we work on skyscrapers, we work on large entertainment projects, we work on parking garages, we work on anything that needs to stand up. The idea of is you're working with multiple vendors. You've got your electricians, your plumbers, your architects, and everybody needs to be collaborating in real time, no pun intended. So it's very important for collaboration to have everybody on the same page. So as far as quick and easy navigation, I'm going to get a little bit into it in a second, so I won't expand too much, but it is super important for our engineers to be able to quickly navigate and understand the scope, the breadth, the width, the height of everything, and really get a feeling for that and be able to do it quickly and easily. And also, myself and Brian here, we are video game developers. We are able to design and develop whatever is necessary. So that means that we can take your idea, we can take your whatever it is that you need to be solved, and we can create that custom experience for you in a decent amount of time. Okay. All right, so said I was going to get into it a little bit. I've got a mixture of people out in the audience. First of all, I want to thank you guys, whether you're in YouTube land or if you're here in the audience, for being here. But there's probably a peppering of AEC fellows and a peppering of video game and VR fanatics and professionals. So I wanted to say just for a quick moment, the perspective of the engineer or the architect is that they're going to go into their software, their CAD software, and if they want to visualize something, they have to render it. And some of us know what rendering means. You render it, and you have to wait multiple minutes, sometimes hours, in order to get the view of the thing that you want to look at. Now, if you get the angle wrong, you have to render it all over again. So this has been the norm since we've been using CAD softwares. You have to render things in a very diligent way. You have to, this is exactly what I want to look at. I'm going to have to wait. Whereas our video game fans and our development professionals, you understand what real-time rendering means. That means what we're doing right now. It means you don't have to wait those hours to see something. Everything is updating every frame. So that is a significant change for our engineers just by itself. When you get an engineer into a VR environment, the moment is, wow, this is incredible. I can see everything. I understand everything as it is. So, but we can take it beyond just a wow factor. That means we can interact with it. We can make changes. We can, oh, that's what you get when you put your hand on your computer. Okay. We can take it beyond just the wow factor. So I want to explain that rather than going through every single tool that we have in our arsenal, our stock amount of tools that we provide in every VR build, I want to give you an example from the perspective of different people who may be using our tool set. So let's see it from the perspective of the client. Now, from this story, I want to tell you about a experience we had at an expo in Chicago at the American Council of Engineering Companies. And this particular individual was listening to us give our spiel over multiple hours over the whole weekend. And at the very end, he goes, now let me get this straight. You're telling me that you can take my Revit file, which is the CAD software that our engineers use. You can take my Revit file and you can put it through your automated process and you can get me a fully outfitted VR build in less than an hour? I said, that's the proposal, right? And he said, well, I've been building my own home for 5 years. I'm going to start construction in a week, and I've got it with me. Can you do that for me? So yes, and I'll shorten the story there. We put him in VR, and the experience was emotional for him. Now, this is the experience of someone who's invested in the project but may not be working on the project themselves. He was emotional. He was walking through this. He was using the walk tool. He was using the camera. He was experiencing it for the very first time as if he was actually walking through his own family home that he had been designing. Now, he was going through and saying things like, this is my daughter's bedroom. This is my wife's soaking tub. This is my backyard. He was very emotive in these moments. Now, he was in there for about an hour, and when he emerged, he lifted up the headset and he goes, where were you guys a year ago? Where were you 6 months ago? If I had this tool then, I would have made so many changes. So we can understand with that small example how this tool set just by itself will impact a client, and is an excellent marketing tool just as it is. Now let's take it a step further. Now let's say you have a creative director on your team, or somebody who is invested in the project, has control over the project, just wants to check up on it and make sure things are going the way they are, that they need to. Let's say that they have a certain level of approval that's required. They have to check a number of boxes. They are responsible for saying yes or no on certain things, and need to make sure it looks good. So for this example, you have someone walking in and they say, this is not going the way that I want it. This doesn't look right at all. We need to do this all over again. I'm looking at it in the CAD software and it's just not right. It's just not right. So we say, okay, well, give us another chance. Let's look at it in VR. So they look at it in VR. They're walking around. They're using the walk tool to experience the environment as if they're a patron walking through the design, the intended design. They're looking around. They're just using the walk tool and walking through, and they say, you know what, this is just right. This is exactly the way that I would have wanted it. And you know what? Let's do more. I would like to do more. So rather than scrapping the project and restarting, we're now continuing and getting even more done at the same time. So it was a significant change in that moment when the person that was creatively responsible for the project was able to experience it in VR. So saving time and saving money. Let's take it another step. Now we have an advanced user here. This advanced user is going to be using 2 controllers most likely. And what's unique about our system is that each controller is the same, which means you're able to load different tools on the controller at different times, and that is a very customizable experience. We'll get into a little bit later during our live demo. So in this example, the project manager or perhaps the engineer is actively working on it. They have their hands in the clay, so to speak, and they are making measurements. They are taking photos. They are communicating with vendors. So let's say that you are in VR and you're in a design review scenario. You've got a video boards up like this behind you, and you've got one person in VR and they're communicating, taking photos, measuring, drawing up red lines and marking up the photos as they take them, putting together teleport locations and portals to where they want those people to understand the changes that need to be made. You need to move this beam here, that beam here, this needs to be this amount, and quickly utilizing our tool set to communicate what they need to communicate. So this is an advanced user who is able to use this on a regular basis through scheduled VR sessions for design review purposes. That person is then able to export all of those changes to a PDF and then able to deliver it to that person. They could even package up that executable with all those saved data points and then send it to somebody else who is able to then receive it, open it in their VR system, look at the PDF and see all the saved information and understand exactly what that project manager wants them to change. So these 3 examples, you can understand 3 unique perspectives of different ways that we can use these tools. For marketing, for communication, and for design review. So we are currently using this tool set on a number of projects. I would like to show you a few of those and explain how vast our virtual reality effort has expanded throughout the years. So this is a list of all the offices that we currently have operating VR theaters within. So this is a global firm. We have a little under, I'm going to say this wrong, but I think under 1,000 employees or so. Correct me later. We have just under half of them that are currently operating with VR theaters. And what do I mean when I say VR theaters? That includes a virtual reality system and a PC that can handle it. So it's a very simple setup, and our engineers know to be able to go to that room and utilize the executables that we provide to them, or through our build server, which we'll explain in a moment. So at this time, I'd like to just quickly run through some of the projects that we've done in the past. So this one is the Rogers Center me get my hand on the keyboard here. So the Rogers Center is a project that we were assigned to, or we worked on a retractable roof. We were replacing the structural integrity of the roof, and the client wanted to replace some of the portions of the retractable roof with transparent pieces. This is a baseball stadium in Toronto, Ontario, and we were able to determine that there was going to be an issue with glare, or literally the sun getting in the baseball player's eyes. So that's not desirable at all. So we created the sun tool to be able to determine at what time and day and hour the sun would be at a particular location. We set the model to its GPS coordinates in the real world, and utilizing the simulation from, we use the DIVA simulation system to determine the daylighting glare probability, the DGP, and then use the virtual reality system to determine the cause of the daylight, the glare that was occurring. And we were able to determine the cause of the glare and then make valuable design decisions about which kind of roof and where we wanted those transparent pieces to be to prevent glare from getting in the baseball player's eyes. So these are all images from the virtual reality system. All right, so those of you who are from Central Florida, you might recognize this one. This is another, all of these are going to be captures from the virtual reality builds themselves. But if you're familiar with this building, then you may be familiar that this is the first skyscraper that's been erected since the 2008 recession, and it has changed the skyline of Orlando. So the Church Street Plaza is a beautiful building right along the interstate there. We were we created this virtual reality build to assist with visibility of signage and to make valuable decisions about this building, as well as using it as a marketing tool for their shareholders. We also created a test fit sample office within this building, and when we showed it off at the groundbreaking of this building, it was the jokes were made about, oh well, we can pick what floor of the building we want our office to be in, right? So you were able to see the skyline of Orlando and everything. That's actually a drone drone scan of the city of Orlando that you can see there. Now this is the proposed Tampa Bay Rays stadium. This is important because it's an example of utilizing not only virtual reality, but a mobile device to communicate with clients. So in this case, we wanted to make a determination about what kind of roof material we wanted to use in this proposed stadium, whether ETFE or PTFE roof covering. And we were able to take the 360 photos in VR after creating them from our build server. And then we were able to take those 360 photos into a mobile device and take them easily to the client and show the difference between the clearer covering and the more opaque covering. And they were able to make a determination based off of that. Now, in this image, we're actually showing off some of the ball flight lines that were used to create the maximum height of the roof here. So this is the longest and furthest hit balls from home plate from the previous season that were used to create the maximum height of the stadium roof. Some of you may be familiar with UCF downtown. This is some proposed construction that it will be available, and this is important because this is a structure that was a build that was created through our build server, and we'll explain a little bit more then later. And you can see some of the student housing in the back as well. All of these materials came directly from Revit, and we were able to use it not only for marketing but also to communicate with clients and facilitate design reviews. Now this one's a unique one because for this billboard, the engineer reached out to me the day before a meeting with an architect. There was a concern that there was a structural change that was necessary that would compromise the design integrity of this billboard. So the virtual reality system was, the virtual reality build was requested for that meeting so that the architect could be could feel rest assured that the structural change that was necessary would not compromise the design integrity of this billboard here. And we'll show you a little bit more of this billboard in just a moment. And it's important to note that at the end of that meeting, we put the two models on different layers. They will turn them on and off, and a decision was made that everyone left happy, which is previously they were having disagreements about. So I want you guys to think, again, we have a mixed bag of people here, but what would your project look like in VR? If you had the opportunity to see something before it ever existed, what would that be like? How could you imagine seeing something that you feel connected to, that you feel passionate about? What would that look like? And how valuable would that be to you? So here we talk about what seems to be a vegan lunch. I'm just joking. Our build server. Our build server is the automated pipeline that we referred to earlier. Now, what's important to note here is that our virtual reality builds that we were showing previously 2 years ago or so would take approximately 1 month of man time to complete. And that is a long process that I won't bore you with today, but 1 entire month of focused man time to complete one of those builds that you just saw in some of those examples. Today, with our build server, we are able to automate that process, and that's what we work on for a lot of what we do here. We can take, with just one button press in Revit, through our Walter P. Moore VR plugin, you can go to lunch and come back, and you'll have your fitted, optimized, tessellated, textured, with all the stock features, VR builds directly to your email. This is utilized by our engineers to facilitate all the purposes that you've seen in this presentation. So this is something that we're going to continue to use and continue to improve. We're happy to show you a new version of our VR tool set today. Like we said, we've been working on this for about 4 years. We've just completed our Mark II of our system in early in the year. We had to change gears a little bit to a desktop version and fully support the desktop version for the obvious reason of everyone being at home now, right? So we are now supporting a desktop version of our system and simultaneously developing Mark III. Mark III is a new experience that will improve the user experience and reduce user input by 50% and solve a lot of the issues and improve a lot of the features that were requested by our engineers. I think that's important to note, is that a lot of the development that occurs here at Walter P. Moore is directly from the influence of our project managers and our engineers, asking them directly, what do you want to see? What tools do you need? And making those changes as they're requested. So at this time, let's see. I'd like to invite Brian Stabile to the stage to show a live demo.
All right, how's everyone doing? I am going to give you a live demo of Mark III of our toolset. Let me just go ahead and share my screen. My little tablet out.
It's like being in a meetup.
Now, someone have to give me presenter.
They're never going to get to the part I want.
There we go. All right, now I can load my media. Just be a second. We're going to go to, here we are. All right, so here is the tool set. Let me put down my hands, which is very strange thinking about that. Puts me in a weird spot. Hold on, we'll put myself right around here. Better. Okay. So in our tool set, we have a variety of things that our user can use that help them with seeing, like Karis mentioned, seeing their project in a new perspective, right? So in virtual reality, this is actually not the VR build because I don't think I can put a headset on top of my headset. So this is our 2D drone version. And you see we have a little visual thing. You can see the drone. That's kind of the narrative. And we can go around our environment. This is the Sunset Spectacular that Karis mentioned. Here's the billboard. And if we press the R key, we have our series of tools that we can use. First one I can show you is the highlighter tool. This allows us to make markup on our model. You can also pull it out and just have it in space. It actually looks really neat in 3D. If anyone's seen the program Tilt Brush, so you can make a bunch of notes. You can change the colors. We can do point to point if you need a straight edge. Actually good for visualization, getting ideas for new additions. We have, of course, undo, redo. And we can move on to the next tool. The real world values between surface to surface, or normal to normal, tangential surface. And we can do a one right out in the open. We just kind of stretch that. So we have a real world tape measure. It's kind of fun, so you can drag it. We can see just how long that is. Like right about there. We see the value. Okay. We can go over and show our camera tool. Our camera tool, just want to remind everyone, we're in VR, watching me use a VR build using a camera to pretend like we're, it's a lot of fake realities upon fake reality. It's right, kind of neat. 2020, right? All right, we take a picture using a camera and take a couple of different angles, different perspectives. And then we can go into our markup tool. Let's take this one, and we can draw directly on that image itself instead of in the environment. We can use some templates, circles, like if we need to figure something out. We can also type notes like, these changes would be nice. And then after that, we could mark some of these for export to PDF, or you could then email them to anyone relevant. It also shows the location of the map where that was taken, along with some other important info. Sorry. And where we've taken pictures, it also logs our location in the world, and it allows us to seamlessly teleport to each of those spots. So when you come back at a later date and you need to reference where you just were. Okay, and now we can show styles. So some projects have different styles, changes some of the pictures in the scene. Where I'm looking right now, you can't really see that. Let's see if this one has one. It appears this one does not have those right now, but sometimes projects come in and they want to have different textures for different purposes, different use cases. And we can go to our layers. We can turn on different layers in the scene. As I will close it, you'll see things will be turning on and off. You can kind of see, you can kind of see them behind me. So that the ground is now off. We can turn off the trees. Even our markup that we've made with the highlighter tool, you can turn that on and off. So this one is great when you have a very complicated structure and you need to go inside the walls and you want to see like the electrical, you want to see piping and things like that. I'll turn on a bunch again. And I know Karis mentioned the daylighting scenarios that we've been using for simulation. Now, this gives you the real world position of the sun, provided we have the correct GPS coordinates of our project, of where the sun would be at that time of day, referring to a month, an hour. So this has a variety of applications for, you can imagine, like, for example, a billboard. We want to make sure what hours of the day would there be sun, like maybe glare in people's eyes, and they wouldn't be able to see what's on that billboard. Or, for example, in a sports stadium, would the sunlight be shining in the batter's eyes? We'd need to deploy the dome. Right, close the dome. Right, and that is the extent of our tools at the moment, and we will be adding to this as the development continues. We are also planning to do a little bit of a graphical overhaul, focusing more using the new pipelines and shaders in Unity, which is just made in, by the way, trying to shoot for a little bit more photorealism with higher resolution textures, better lighting, and things like that. So it really brings the user more into the environment instead of just being a practical tool. It also provides a bit of realism that allows them to see it in, right, because there's a difference between theoretical and practical or realistic application. So that's another way to let them see it a little bit closer to how it would look in the real world. So thank you guys very much. I believe, Karis, we are going to do some questions right now. Well, thanks for clapping.
If anybody has any questions about anything we shared today, feel free to let us know. Otherwise, thank you so much.
So Karis and Brian, can you say that again? What was this built in? What product did you use?
We built this in Unity.
Yay! Big applause.
I build all of my products in Unity.
No, I know it might be. I know this. It might be difficult for folks to figure out how to ask questions. I see Lee here has a question. He's got his hand raised. Lee, you want to go?
Yes. How do you handle handicap accessibility?
Oh, ADA compliance, or are you referring to?
Handicap. Yeah, ADA compliance. Specifically for that of a wheelchair, considering that. Well, for one, I'm a quadriplegic, so it's near and dear to my heart, but also because it tends to be a lot harder to develop ADA for wheelchairs than for other disabilities.
That's a great question, and one of the reasons we have the smaller measuring tape that you see is specifically for measuring door purposes. And I imagine if there was a specific need for it, we could create, and we have in the past, for instance, driving a car through a parking garage, create a pathway so that someone could operate the VR system in the correct size model with the correct colliders to navigate as if they were in a wheelchair, and then to make their own determinations about the problems that someone in your situation would have trying to access a building. So for every single one, we have the measuring tool, and then we would be able to create the custom experience. That's an excellent point you bring up.
Question
how can we contact you?
You can contact us through our emails. If I had a business card, I'd hand it to you. I promise. I usually have them. I usually have them up my sleeve here. C. Fraser Baker at walterpmoore.com is me, and B. Studbill at walterpmoore.com is him. Feel free to reach out to us afterwards.
Or you can also email me if anybody wants to get a hold of anybody. Shoot Orlando at theVRAR.com an email, and I'll make sure to connect you all. Okay?
Yeah. You can find our website, walterpmoore.com, and look for the virtual reality section. You can find somebody to bug. That'll get you to us.
Is there one more question before we go on the next? Is there any one more question over here? Yep.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Karis and Brian, thank you. Steven Sato here. I actually work with Chris at Engage, but I spent 6 years in the AC community. I left in 2008. I'm curious, and by the way, I know plenty of firms that do use your software, so kudos to you guys. But I guess I'm wondering, how granular can your software be? So I left in 2008, and I was doing MEP coordination on site, right? So are we at that level where you can do coordination at that level inside of VR? with your platform?
So we to do some level of coordination, but for the most
No.
part, it's communication, and we've been looking at Unity Reflect for the granularity that you're probably thinking about.
Gotcha.
So that's where we're at.
Love it.
For the
Love it.
communication and collaboration is our main forte here, and then for the granularity you're asking for, we're looking at other options.
Awesome. I don't know if it was asked. Is it multiplayer? Sorry, really quickly.
It's not
We are-
multiplayer at this time.
Okay.
We are developing that. We're thinking
Woohoo!
about how ways to do that. Also, not just only in VR, but we can have some people just watching in 2D, like in the drone mode, and then someone actually kind of leading where everything is going in 3D.
We're creating multiple opportunities for multi-platform interplay. It'll be
Thank
good.
you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll have some more questions at the end, but let's go ahead and get to the next presentation here just in the sake of time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Alex,
Thank you.
can you come on up? Next slide. You know, I don't think everyone watching on YouTube really appreciated what we just did there. We're in a virtual auditorium, and Brian and Karis ran a real application on their computer showing the outcome in virtual on a screen. How cool is that, right? All right, is Alex up here? Come on up, Alex. So can we pull the next slide up for Alex? Or Alex, are you doing that? So Alex gets the longest travel award, I think, for today. Oh, thank you, Alex. Appreciate that. I got a bottle here. So Alex is joining us from the UK. So Alex, it's what, about 2 a.m. there now? Oh.
Yeah, I think it's about 1 a.m. now, so not too bad.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time
You hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Next slide. Who's driving the slides right now? I'm waiting for the next. It should be the next slide.
not me.
Introduces Alex.
There we
Next.
go.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay, so introducing Alex Harvey.
Cool.
Then that nice suit there with the bow tie, getting some kind of fancy schmancy award there. Co-founder and creative director of River. Guys, I believe we're actually going to be going on a field trip. Is that right, Alex?
I think we are going to. We might just show a video first, though.
Okay, so sit back and enjoy. Thanks, Alex. Get out of your way here.
Thanks, John. Chris, I'm going to rely on you a little bit to help me in case we have some connection issues.
Okay.
But first of all, I'm going to play a So I think you've probably heard before, Chris, but I do have a bit of an addiction that I'd like to announce. And that addiction is photogrammetry and capturing the real world.
Yeah.
So this is going to play for 1 minute, show you what I've been doing during the last sort of 30 days. Ends nice and abruptly for us, Chris.
Very nice.
That is my addiction, and it's so I'm going to talk a little bit about River. So River is the company that we started back in. But before we started that, I did a bit of a long span at Codemasters, where we made racing games. So a lot of the racing games back in the some people are probably familiar with those titles, but we started River and we started doing 360 video, and then we scale VR, and we got into capturing the scenes for firefighters and police. So we've basically developed a training package for firefighters and police, and the fire investigation software that we've created is all done in photogrammetry. So photogrammetry is taking thousands of images of the real world and making a very high detailed model from that data. Another video that shows you the process of creating a model, and I'm also going to bring the model out for you to see in this room, and then that's going to be Chris. We're going to so I'll play that video. So we'll look at Abbey, I'll get the model out, and people can have a look at that as it's playing.
So we're at the old Abbey, which used to be a monastery, 12th century monastery in Abbeyfields. This is the gatehouse, so we're going to photogrammetry make a model of it. We're going to look at recreating what the monastery used to look like before Henry VIII demolished it, and we're going to apply that same philosophy to kind of castle, try and recreate it to its original form of glory. So this is first try of the new rig. 6 cameras, 20mm lenses, trying to speed up the image capture a little bit.
So River and Reality Virtual.
Please feel free to come up and have a look.
A rather interesting partnership here, a rather interesting collaboration on this project. Basically,
that is so cool.
We'll provide the tools and the deep learning to help assist in enhancing the photogrammetry to the gold standard and to the next level. And you guys are here literally doing the hard work, man, on the ground and knowing the local scene and knowing the culture, and that's super important.
With this monument behind, we're scanning it and testing the new rig, but in a minute we're going to go over to Kenilworth Castle and Warwick Castle. We want to have a complete digital twin of those environments that looks identical to the real world.
So as mentioned, we want to recreate it as if it was, but as if it would be now in present time. So it's kind of, we're not going to make it look like it was 1200 years ago in its glory days. We're just going to make sure it looks like how it would still look now if someone hadn't gone and knocked half of it down. Coming to this part of the world just makes perfect sense from the cultural preservation point of view. But also people are just passionate and ambitious and eager to actually focus on this aspect of things. And
this isn't something you can do in a real auditorium, is it?
Definitely not. Yeah, so we wanted to talk briefly about capturing reality and the software that they create, Reality Capture, and how at River we obviously use that software with all of our scenes, the ability to use their different licenses that allow us to use more and more.
Hey,
photos.
Alex, go stand right up here in the front of the building and get a picture of you.
Reality Capture.
I'm gonna do a selfie. There we go. Ready? Smile.
They're very tied in with our message of backing up the planet and
that's cool.
And having these photographs kind of stored in a public trust for archival purposes to make sure that we are keeping these in the interests of our private corporations.
We're nearly going real life, Chris.
Give you the JPEGs on the front end and call it cultural preservation. We generally believe in hosting these images and hoping that other parties around the world also submit their own data sets as well. Because at the end of the day, the more photos, the merrier. And the way reality capture operates is you can mix data sets to and fro, especially if you can delight the damn things. It doesn't matter what time of day it is.
That is pretty much the right scale there, Chris.
Give rid of all the shadows and overcast and highlights, and so we will be able to put the final model when created, in any kind of lighting scenario that we want.
So let me pause.
Use all the data we have from this scene to apply it to.
So some of you might know about Simon helped us out with the photogrammetry on this scene, using some of his deep learning AI stuff in the background. After we saw in that video, there was a 6-camera rig that allowed us to speed up the capture a lot more. More video, Chris. Should we jump to your showroom and then we can talk about the fire investigation stuff?
Yep, we can head on over there. Let's do it.
I think we got it. I think Alex's audio. We had a problem with Alex's audio.
A little bit, Alex. A little bit in and out on your audio. I don't know if you're still hardwired or not.
Yes.
Let's head on over to engineering.
Yeah, I'm hardwired. I'm sorry about that.
Here we go.
All right, so we just, I don't know what the folks on YouTube can see, but we just took a virtual field trip. We just got teleported out of the auditorium into this warehouse. How cool.
So now, Chris, is that okay with you? Sorry about my audio.
You bet. So I'm watching everybody loading this content. I'm going to wait until we get the vast majority loaded up. Everyone's going to be on a different internet speed. So if you want to kind of talk a little bit in preparation for this, Alex,
let me just context it a little bit. So we made 6 fire investigation scenes, and we sell that package all around the world to fire investigators and arson investigators. And we managed to work with the guys at Engage to bring in a full scene, one of the fire scenes, into Engage to show the capability of the things we could do inside this platform.
Hang on a sec, Alex. You're froze up here. Uh-oh. Oh, he's gone. He'll come back in a sec. All right, guys. It looks like we're almost all loaded. We got just a couple more people still loading the content here. So I'll hold off just for a second. Steven Sato, you here with me, man?
What's going on?
We're going to keep this one a controlled burn. We don't want it to get too out of control for obvious reasons. So
Definitely.
And
just be easy.
Okay,
just
great.
be easy. I'm not.
So let's go ahead.
On, so I can't help.
And we'll kick this little intro off. Here we go, guys.
Sorry, Chris.
It's all right. Here we go.
Just check me
out. All right. I do believe we have a burn going. And somebody's already called 911, haven't they?
Is that you, Chris?
Steven, did you take care of the cats? Oh, no, there they go. There they go. We're good. Okay. Steven, I said this needs to be a controlled burn. This is not a controlled burn. In fact, I'm a little worried about the ceiling up here.
Watch out! Watch out!
Okay, maybe we're okay. Maybe we're okay. No, we're not okay. I forgot to bring the breathing masks.
Chris, are we sure everyone's okay?
I hope. All right.
Well,
yeah. There we go.
I think they are okay. Okay. Good. Thanks, Chris.
Fun.
That is awesome, as always. So Chris had one of the fire investigation models then in the scene.
Chris, he's on spatial.
Are we on spatial?
Let's take you off spatial there, bud. Yeah.
Cool. So what we do for those training environments is we put the scene like this, but we also build it. We build the whole thing with the bed and everything in place. I'm going to let you guys come and have a look at this stuff in a minute. So Chris, we can take some of these items out if you've got any as well. If I can share them up.
Yeah, let me see what I can do
allow
for us.
people to pick up some of these objects. I will. This one's also good and amazing in Engage because look, we can scale things up and see what's inside this bin. So this is a photogrammetry model. I'll leave it there for you to have a look in while I build this scene in the background.
Yeah, I don't know, man. When I look into the bin here, I can see that there's got to be an interesting story behind this fire.
I think there is something going on. Yeah. I'll share these, Chris, as well as we're laying them, so people can pick things up. But in the full scene, we get to investigate the fire and pick every item up, and we get to look underneath it because we've done photogrammetry of the object from every angle. There's lots of items here. I will share them so people can have a little pickup of things. So there, you've got one of the bags as well. That bag there is from some of the terrorism, anti-terrorism training that the Met Police and Carl Hardcastle have been doing. Let me just get a few more. So we've got the TV. So, yeah, this is all of the items that we've got in this scene. And then there is things like this. And then obviously the thing that we need to make this perfect is a laser scanner. So when we do the photogrammetry inside these scenes, we do have a laser scanner in the scene as well to allow us to give us all the detailed geometry of the scene, and then we can use that to line it all back up when we build it in VR. And John, you'll be pleased to know we are building that in Unity as well.
Yay, big round of applause.
Yeah, so this is one of the fire scenes. This is actually the cause of the fire. It was this ashtray that we see here that was on the bed. I think it was in one of these locations. But a lot of people in this scene, when they come and do the learning, a lot of people think that the fire has started down here on the floor because they see that the curtain set fire and dropped down to the floor. They think this was a second seat of fire, but it wasn't. It was all started over here. We also have the 360 video in our scenarios so that we can watch the fire and see where the fire actually started. That's the trainees' learning outcome, if you like. So that is the fire investigation scene. We're busy at the moment, Chris, building a full scenario inside Engage so that we can use it as more of a platform to learn in and bring some firefighters in to test.
Brilliant. So thanks, Alex. That's going to be a lot of fun.
So, Chris, I think there was one more event that we had recently, and it was Point de Hoc.
That's right. Should we head on over there to the 360 room then?
Yes, I think if we should do that, we can get the model out and
let's do it.
Let's
go on over. Here we go. All right, I've got the whole thing loaded up here. Here we go. WG.
We're all like stacked on top of each other.
I know. Here they come. Here they come.
Chris, did you? Oh, you got it. Okay, great.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and get that video started with this.
Right, see if it's got the nice platform. Yeah, so if people want to ground themselves a little bit, you can come and stand on the platform.
Yeah, I am going to throw a video on here, and it may, for those that get a little motion sickness, the platform here will help if you want to come up here.
And then I can talk a little bit about what you're seeing in front of us. So we did a history event inside Engage. The guys at River are quite passionate about history, and they went and did some photogrammetry at Point de Hoc in Normandy, France. So what you're seeing here, because of COVID, they couldn't actually do the photogrammetry with the drone. So what we're seeing here is capture from Google Earth. I think it's, they captured the screenshot, they captured the video and then got the frames out of the video to create the photogrammetry of Point de Hoc.
There we go.
We processed that in the software, and then we brought the model in here, and they did an event around this whole thing, bringing in different soldiers, and I'll pop some of those guys in, but Chris laid it over this, which is a pretty amazing experience to fly around in.
And hopefully you guys can see the image here. Is there anybody raise their hands that can? Is there anyone that cannot see the 360 video by raise of hand? Good, good. It looks like everyone can see it okay. Great.
So a quick question. So
Cool.
you're taking a 360 video around, and then on top of it, you're superimposing this land space here. Is that correct?
Yeah,
That's
so this
right.
is point to hoc, and we can scale this up and down depending on what we like. But Chris laid the video around it just to give it a little bit more of a skybox.
Gotcha. That is
And
cool.
I'm going to be dropping in a few more models.
Great.
but
Feel
yeah,
free. I'm going to play with the lighting and whatnot as you're doing that, Alex.
Okay, yeah. So here's some of the photogrammetry models that the guys had inside this experience. If you look over here, there's one of the soldiers. I think this was Dick Winters from Band of Brothers. And I'm going to keep popping out different items. This was one of the memorials from Leamington Spa. I will get another house out here. Chris, we've got so many models in here now.
We do, yeah. I'm going to start putting some out myself here in just a sec.
I'm sorry if I've changed the format a little bit. We do like to sort of move around and do different things rather than sticking in one room. There's a door. So the theme is obviously photogrammetry, and Chris is putting a door out here. This was done in Warwick. Let me just share that for you so you can see the landing craft. German bunker. So there's lots of things that the guys were adding onto this monument, like this bunker, placing them in position. Yeah, we also have weapons. I can share that for people. This is the interactive session, Chris.
Yes,
We get
love it. It's like playing in a sandbox when you're a kid.
I know. It is dangerous because I am just flying around.
I don't know. Somebody left this gun laying around over here. I don't know if I should be move this thing around.
Yeah, there's quite a few guns and grenades. So the guys...
Here you go, Karis. There you go. You could have it. There you go. Take care of that.
Chris, could you just pop up a screen for me? So that oh, no, we can't in this room, can we?
Yeah, you can't in this one, yeah.
Okay, that's one. I love the smoke. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, yeah. Some of the artists were going mad that we bought these soldiers out because they were only ever supposed to be very tiny and on this cliff. This one's good, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's great. There we go.
This one's cool. Have you got your planes as well?
Yeah, let's pull out some planes. How about some? Oh, you got the boats here. This is kind of fun. I love this in VR because you can actually put people inside of that boat to feel what it would be like to be inside of that.
Chris, this is all great for my addiction.
Are we feeding the addiction here?
Yeah, definitely. It's fine.
All right, let's pull out some planes as well.
Yeah.
I'm glad I don't have vertigo.
Yeah. So this proves that really we're all 8-year-olds, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what the guys at River are doing. They just they do love playing. There's Chris's plane.
There we go.
Oh wow. Can you grab it?
Sure. Here, I'll make that shareable. You guys can pass this plane model around if you'd like. I'll make that shareable. Here you go. Whoever's got VR, here you go. You can grab that, Steve. Yeah.
I don't know what the folks watching this on YouTube can see.
Yeah, it's probably just a playground.
But it's pretty amazing inside of VR here.
Hey, if everybody wants to turn around and look up here at me, I'm going to take a picture of everybody from up here.
Oh, okay. Back here behind us over by the...
Yeah, I'm way up here.
The guy up in the chair in the sky.
Oh, okay.
Wave.
Wave with your guns, Karis.
Karis has got
Yeah, there's lots of flying. Oh, there's a mansion. There's a mansion out to sea.
Oh, you brought the mansion in. Very nice. That's a great model.
And I'm in it.
This
So
is
the
just a pure drone model, this one.
triplane and the camel seem to be a little out of place for one.
I'm interested to see how everybody is going to describe this experience to everybody else.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the screenshots.
What I'll do tomorrow, I'll post a little LinkedIn discussion, and everybody can chime in with a comment. And it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Oh, Chris, what's that?
I don't know. Looks like we got a weather anomaly out here.
So yes, we are very much playing, but has anyone got any serious questions about photogrammetry or the things that we've been making? I had a bad connection. I think it's fixed a little bit now, but it was making my audio a bit rough. Sorry.
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah,
question.
if we got any
Can you hear
questions,
me?
in fact, let me make sure everybody's soft muted so that they can unmute themselves if needed. Give me 1 second. Okay, everyone is soft muted, so if you have any questions, go ahead and just unmute yourself and ask away.
So, what is your biggest technical challenge right now at River?
At River, technical challenge. We find it a bit hard to deploy, so I'm really looking forward to WebXR. I'm looking forward to WebXR so we can stream straight to the Oculus Quest. That's going to be a lot more interesting. I haven't got any technical limitations really at the moment.
What about business adoption of this technology?
We always like to push the boundaries. Business what, sorry?
Question was, what about business adoption?
How's the adoption rate? What are your customers telling you?
Yeah. So River investigate all over the world now. Singapore, America, Denmark, UK, Finland, multiplayer to train the fire investigators. But we're also making a new product called Crime Scene Investigator. It's going to be a sandbox crime scene. This is just basically our passion projects that are funding the business is River Investigate. That's being used for training at the moment.
I have a question for you, Alex.
Being used for all of these projects.
Yeah, I'm going to take off the 3D audio there. Go ahead, ask that question.
Oh, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Oh, great. So
Yes.
what is the largest amount of polygons or textures that can handle that you can put into this platform? What's the largest asset?
Well, the largest thing I've got here in this particular platform is 2 cities of Paris with the International Space Station flying overhead at about 12 million polygons.
Wow.
That's good.
Any other questions?
So yes, sorry for hijacking. Any more questions?
All right.
Oh, actually, I have one. So what kind of scanner are you using? Is it like a Faro or Leica? What's the kind of laser scanner that you use, or does it depend on the project?
Yeah, so we've got a Leica, we use the Leica scanner and the Faro scanner, but we mainly use photogrammetry, just using standard digital cameras or drones. The laser scanner is used only when we think the photogrammetry might not work. Photogrammetry works in most situations, so we don't necessarily use lasers all the time.
Yeah.
The rig, I think I played a video earlier when we pulled out the Abbey on the stage in the theatre, and that showed in the background one of the camera rigs that we use that has 6 cameras on it in an array, and that just speeds up the capture immensely when we're out on location. We also have a photogrammetry rig that is on a turntable. So we have 12 SLR cameras, and then we spin the turntable and take photos of every object. This is how these models were done, and this chair. And this was done handheld with a pole. Or just pure photogrammetry. This isn't. This is just a CG model, so you can tell the difference. And then, yeah, the other ones are. These are all, especially this one. Yeah, one of the guys from the office.
So when you're exporting the textures from reality capture, what's the max texture that you can put into Engage?
So the textures that we have in our normal environments are a lot bigger. We have to optimize and decimate, but the ones that we bring in, the Engage guys gave us a rough guide of under 100,000 poly. So that's what most of these are. We just try and get everything down to that, and it normally fits in perfect. But I think
Alex,
Chris is probably. Yes.
We had a question from YouTube. Yeah, there's a question from YouTube Live. One of our viewers, I think you've actually covered most of this. They were just wondering what the pipeline is. I think you were just covering most of it. What about kind of your lead time? How long does it take to go from a scan to actually get it into a model? Is this something that takes hours or days?
Yeah, I did a church actually in Warwick, and I did the photo. I did 6,000 photos, and I churned it overnight in reality capture, and that took about 8 hours to give me a model. Sorry, I decimated the model down to 2 million polys, and the next day I put it straight into VR when it was rendered and textured, and we dropped it straight into Unity. Another shout for Unity. Dropped it straight in and fired up, and I could see the VR model that I scanned the day before. So it was about 12 hours to VR for 7,000 photos.
Wow.
That's incredible.
You can have these within an hour.
Sorry, Alex, you're breaking up there.
You can have these small models into VR within an hour, these ones. Easy.
Amazing.
The speed is getting so much quicker these days for getting stuff done. Production, model.
Do you do anything particular for UV layouts? Or do you just kind of let the reality capture handle that?
No, we do it ourselves. The artists do it. We have seen the features there in reality capture. I've seen the features there in reality capture, but the guys do it in Maya, ZBrush, cleanup. Yeah, they clean up most of the models themselves. Each burn container that we do probably has about 70 items in. There's lots of work.
I saw where there's now actually an app that you can download to your smartphone and tablets that will start, doing scans and stuff. Are you aware of that? Have you seen that? And you know anything about it? I mean, obviously the quality's not going to be like this, but
yeah, the reality capture software is getting faster and faster. I've got the iPad Pro, and it's got the LiDAR scanner on the front. So I've been scanning objects and bringing that stuff into VR. I've used it, but we haven't used it for these items.
Yeah,
I've just been practicing with it.
Amazing.
Things are moving very fast. I think when an iPhone comes out with a laser scanner, that's going to speed things up a bit. Maybe that's next week.
Yeah. Right.
And the Facebook announcement. So we'll see what happens there. I'm excited for next week. So, John, that is us done.
Wow, I
hope
don't
everyone's
know. I
enjoyed
don't know what.
seeing the
I don't know what.
photogrammetry show.
Yeah, I don't know if going back into a boring auditorium is what we want to do, right? I mean, it was pretty exciting until we came in here. No, this is fantastic, guys. Thank you so much for putting this together, because I don't think that we would have been able to have this same type of experience any other way. Really appreciate it. Are we going? So, John, was the plan to go back to the auditorium and then have a social, or just socialize here?
Wherever you'd like. We could go back to there, or we could go here, or there's one of any dozen other places.
Sure. I mean, we could go, if we want to socialize, we could go to the penthouse or something and do it, you know?
Yeah, that's nice too.
Karis is like, yeah, penthouse. Okay, let's do that.
Okay, so let's go to the penthouse, and then we'll just have wrap it up there and have social time.
Here we go.
This is a nice one. I like doing these sort of after meetings here.
Yeah, just hang out. We'll turn the 3D audio on here. Here we go. 3D audio's on. John, I'll take it off for you. And
yep. So I guess what I can do here is just as everybody starts peeling in, maybe go up here and just say, where's the camera from YouTube pointing at?
I guess it's whoever's on the live stream.
Yeah, who is the YouTube camera?
Maybe YouTube is not it. Maybe he's not in yet.
Yeah, maybe he's not here yet. Steve, did you? Okay, Steve's right over there. He's signaling to me. I think he has the camera. So, look, first of all, thank you everyone for attending. Those of you that watch this on live stream, thank you very much as well. Hopefully soon folks will be able to get more VR sets and we can do more of these things in VR. I think this was probably one of the most interesting chapter meetings we've had. And thanks to our speakers, Karis and Brian and Alex and John and thank you guys so much really appreciate all the effort. And for our producers, Fraser and Steve, for all the work that you guys did to put this together, we really appreciate it. So big round of applause. We'll just socialize from here, and we're going to turn the spatial audio. Go ahead.
It's on.
Sorry.
Yep.